Dr. White referred to Hebrews chapter 1:3 and talked about how he didn't need to refute it. I didn't hear him explain it in a way that suggested anything other than what I said, though. All he seemed to imply was that, well, if he's an exact copy, that must mean he's just as eternal, because God's infinite and his being's eternal. Therefore, if you're an exact copy, you have to be eternal as well. Well, that's interesting. I didn't realize that being a copy of something meant you had to transfer along with it the same time or age as the original. Usually when you have a copy, the very notion of copying suggests a temporal distinction. The ring is obviously in the wax and the symbol on the ring was before the symbol on the wax. Any notion or suggestion of a copy must imply a temporal distinction. It doesn't need to be further defined or explained. It's obvious to suggest that a copy, even an exact copy, has to have the same age as the original is just absurd. What kind of copy is that? But he is a copy. That's what the text says, and Dr. White's illustration was perfect. It's exactly what the word means, charaktēr. A signet ring that's sometimes used to emplace a seal in a wax. But that shows you that they're not the same God. It shows you that they're not both eternal as well, because one is a copy of the other. And there's no question about what we're talking about in terms of what being a copy of. Copy of God's being. And that's what the argument is about, a distinction in being or nature. These terms are very simple and used by the Bible writers to convey very simple concepts and notions. And we don't need to get bogged down and suggest these ideas that somehow a copy must involve a transference of age. So these texts still stand unrefuted in terms of my position that there is a division in nature. If there's a division in nature, there are two separate divinities. If Jesus used a text that refers to other gods in support of his claim to be a god, that has to be answered. If Paul says that Jesus is a copy of God's being, that has to be answered, not just set aside and suggest that, well, if he's really a copy, then he's exact in every respect. Well, that's not how copies work.